Morning, guys. Day 6 at the shop. First thing this morning, I went over to the powder coaters, dropped off a piece, and picked up 2 cabinets for those George Nelson steel case units. Been in the office since about 9:30, doing emails, quotes, and just responding back to some customers' questions. While I've been doing that, Ivan's been in the shop getting the Eames chair sanded, which is almost ready. I'm going to just finalize, double check them right now. Along the way, we're going to do that Rosewood table that we steamed last night. Going to get that sanded, also get it down the line. While I'm working on all this Rosewood furniture, Ivan's going to sand the sealer on the drawers for those George Nelson pieces. We're going to get them sanded with 320, sponge, and then we're going to tape up the inside because we don't want any overspray to get in here when we spray the first gray top coat. Last but not least, grand reveal, that handle we've been working on for Morgan. We finished it up yesterday. I think I got to do a little bit of a fill work around this edge, put a little epoxy. Do that today. It'll be done, ready to go tomorrow, and we're going to save the day for her and the piece that she just bought. So stay tuned. Let's see if we can get all of this done today. All right, I'm buttoning up the last piece of this Eames chair, and on the inside it's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure it's from the factory, but it says August 24th, 78, second shift, and it looks like there's an AC. Never seen this on an Eames chair before. Really unique. I would assume it's probably from the factory. It's about the right era from when this chair was made. I think this was a second gen of the Herman Miller Eames chair. So it's kind of cool. I'm going to get this ready to get sprayed and get back to the Rosewood table. All right, before I flip this table back over, I wanted to show you something on like the construction and a little thing we found from like the factory. First thing is these legs were not removable. Usually on 75 to 80% of the dining tables we do, these are removed with a small bolt. Maybe there's a 45-degree angle support going through. We remove the screws that are on here and notice that it's glued down to the structure of the leaf system, and they're all glued down to the frame or the tabletop leaf. Very unique, makes it harder for us to sand and get everything done, but it's still doable. But when we flipped it over, we noticed something really unique. From the factory, they wiped the stain on. You see like fingerprints here. This table was purchased from the homeowner, I believe in like the 60s or 70s. Never been touched. It's been in the same spot, so we know it wasn't like another refinisher did this. We know that just the quality from the factories is not always top notch. I would have either kept this super clean or would have just stained the whole top before we glued this back down. So I said, I'm going to finish that side. I will show you the other, the top side when we get it in the spray booth, maybe later today. All right, before I get that Rosewood table in the spray booth, I wanted to show you what Ivan's been doing on those George Nelson pieces. Because it's going to be multiple colors, clear coat, the face is going to be blue, the sides and the back are going to be gray. We have to tape it up so that way that gray doesn't get in the overspray inside. What we're going to do next is tape up the sides here so these rails stay wood. That's what was the original style from the factory. These wood rails stay. We're going to prime it with that gray. We're actually going to spray this top coat here in a gray primer as well. And then, making sure we do that. We'll come back tomorrow. We're going to have to tape up all the gray so that way we just spray just the face frame with the final blue color. So as I said, a lot of work goes into these little drawers. It may seem super easy, but there's a lot of time that goes into prep work, tape up, and making sure the product is perfect, when the customer gets it picked up. Now that we're back from lunch, I wanted to show you where we are, like a halfway point. The Eames chair is ready to go in the spray booth. We're going to get it in probably in the next 30 minutes, along with the Rosewood dining table that we stripped yesterday. That's all sanded, repaired, ready to get in the spray booth. Ivan is at the last drawer for this first unit. We're going to get that taped up and get the primer coats on that today. But first, remember that T-cart from last week? I got to get the metal cleaned back up, taking it from this old brass to this nice, clean, fresh brass. So we're going to do that right now on the wire wheel. Do one piece at a time so we don't get them mixed up. Do the hardware and the screws, and then we'll get this thing oiled for the customer tomorrow. There's a few different ways to clean up the metal, either by hand with steel wool, a brass wire wheel, or like a buffing machine. this customer wants more of like a clean satin look versus the high gloss and shiny. So what we're going to do is use the brass wheel. It has to be brass. You cannot use the wire, the steel. It'll just eat right through this. It'll ruin it. So here we go. In just a few seconds, you can see nice and clean versus the old tarnish. So I'm going to continue on that, get the last pieces ready, and then we'll get it oiled up. So like every other rosewood piece that we do in here, we actually clean it with acetone first to make sure that the oils in the wood are not on the surface. It's not as common on these newer pieces, but when we used to work on pianos, there was the old like Steinway square grands were made out of solid rosewood. A lot of that had so much oil that the lacquer wouldn't stick. And doing that, it just cleans off any dust or residue that's on the surface. We actually do this a lot with teak and walnut as well, but I said you definitely should do it with rosewood. And I said it just makes sure it's nice and clean before putting that coat of sealer on. Get this one in the spray booth. And it's also important to blow these off really well prior to doing the acetone. We've already done that, I think, 2 or 3 times with the air hose. We've cleaned these off, and it just makes it easier to clean. Then you know you're not just wiping off sawdust. And so it's something that could take 30 seconds to do, could save you so much headache when you're doing the spraying process. Just like that Eames chair, we're going to do the same thing with this rosewood table. Wipe it with acetone just to make sure that there is no oils on the surface. And it actually gives you a little bit of security that you're wetting it, and you're going to actually see if there's any damage left. You're going to see any scratch marks, swirl marks, things like that. And the best time to catch that is now, before you get it in the spray booth. I'm going to do the other side first before I bend down there. But yeah, it's better to find the problems now and fix them versus the second you put that sealer on. It's very hard to go back from that. And we still find things all the time. We'll find a small dent, maybe a little spot where air hose didn't blow out a section of dust. Like I said, it's very common to find problems in this stage. The problem is some people want to just give up and get it in the spray booth and not correct it properly, not repair it properly. All right, I'm going to work on that T-cart behind me. We're going to get it buttoned up, get the last little bit of oil, but I wanted to pop in the booth and just show you what Ivan's doing inside the shop with that rosewood table. Come on with me. Right now, Ivan's spraying the first coat of sealer on that table and the rosewood pieces. Then you can see, we like to flip things over, get everything repaired and sealed on the bottom, just so that way it just gets a better finish for the customer. Everyone's happy in the end, and it just protects the piece longer term. Okay, it's the final step on this little antique T-cart. We're going to take this super oil that we use. It's called Scratch Off. It's from Mohawk. And we're going to just rehydrate all the oak on this thing. It's going to bring it right back to life. So take a look at this. This is one of those products you can buy over there at Mohawk or wood repair products. Go down there, pick a little bit of this up, and you can use this instead of your Howard's Restore Finish. Those things at Home Depot, definitely not as good. This stuff is definitely 10 times better than anything you get there. it's 5:30. I got to get out of here, but I wanted to show you the T-cart before I get out of here today. I oiled it. It's all cleaned up. I'm going to let it dry tonight. Do one more check tomorrow. I'm going to probably actually leave these open so it airs out. And then come back tomorrow with another clean rag, dry it off one more time, and I think the customer maybe come in around noon tomorrow to pick it up. So we're going to do that. Ivan's going to stay about another hour maybe, finish sealing the Rosewood Eames chair and that Rosewood dining table. That way tomorrow we could button it up, possibly get it back delivered Friday. So we'll see. Like I said, if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. I'm glad that you're here. I said, we'll see you tomorrow.